Is working in a salon environment just not cutting it for you anymore? Do you feel you've reached your growth potential as a stylist and long to educate yourself and truly provide real answers to the next level from behind the chair so that you can start owning the chair and making it work for you and your vision? So I'm getting a little feedback here and trying to figure this out here. So today we're actually going to be speaking with Heather Cleaves. So she's going to share with us her journey from never wanting to own a salon to now having a thriving studio and the impact that it's made on her family financially and her guests. Stay tuned. You're watching The Business of Beauty, where we bring you the latest tips, tools, techniques from professionals in the beauty industry to help you grow from your beauty biz. Yes, so join us live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Now Heather Cleaves with glowing skin, mad skills. And
I feel like I'm about to come on. I feel like I'm about to come on into like the WWE right now.
In your corner. I love the afternoon show, man. It's a little lively in different ways.
Yeah, it was great. The energy was great. I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Hey, let's cheers.
Cheers. What you got there?
This is a little rosé, handmade by two very special people in my life, my godparents.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right? Because you can't just be basic when you drink rosé. It's got to be made by special hands.
Well, let's be real, Heather. There's nothing basic about you.
Aw, come on.
I'm serious.
Come on. Thank you very much.
From the moment that I met you, I'm just like, okay, this woman, I got to know her. I got to know your journey, how you started over at Sola and decided to just jump in and start your own salon.
So you want me to jump on in?
I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think the coolest part of it was kind of how you actually introed me. So I thank you for even saying that, right? Which is the fact that I never wanted to own my own salon. And I think that that's commonly an expectation that a lot of, our clients have is, or in life in general, like what's next? What's bigger? What's better? What are you going to do next? Like, what's the biggest
next step?
Yeah. What's the next step? You have 2 kids. When's the third?
Oh, I know. Never get that question.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. So, I started under 2 of the industry's finest leaders, and I still revere them as amazing to this day, which is Robert Cromian, who's the lead artistic director of Paul Mitchell, and Andrew Dale, who is the CEO and founder of Unite Urotherapy, also back in the day was Vidal Sassoon's assistant. So I had good roots. I went to beauty school really, really young. I graduated high school and beauty school within the same month. I was doing them simultaneously.
Wait, what?
I didn't tell you that part.
Wow. You impress me more every day.
Oh, stop. So I started out with a really solid foundation, and being brought up under 2 of those, incredible type of leaders, you get conditioned for greatness, bigger, better, faster, more talented, more education. Those are the things that they instill in you from such an early point. And they break you down to believe in such. And I did believe in it. But for some reason, after 10, 12, 13, 15 years in the business, when people started asking me like, so don't you want to own your own salon? I mean, emphatically, no. It was a hard no. I was like, no.
You didn't waste any time answering that question.
No. It's like I had thought about it. I knew it to be true, and there was nothing about it that I wanted. And I would say I love the fact that I can come in here and I can work and I can love what I do, but I can leave it here and go home. Because that was in my mind at the time what owning a salon was. It seemed like stressful. It seemed like too much work. It seemed like you couldn't balance it all. It just seemed too much, and it wasn't a goal of mine until it was. And
so how did that happen? That sounds like a story in itself, right?
Well, sure. So it really happened quite quickly, and I was working behind the chair at a booth rental salon, which was in and of itself quite successful for a hairdresser, right? You get to the point where you're not giving, 75% of your earnings away. Then you get to a point where you're not giving 50% away. And then you get to a point where like, I'm going to pay one fee a week and get to keep everything. Like I've
Yeah.
made it, right? I've made it. And so I was there and I'd been there for quite some time. And so as I continued to show up and I would start getting there a little earlier and try staying later, but the salon would close and, they're like, you got to go home. I started wanting to change the aesthetic of where I was working. I was no longer happy just with what it looked like on a daily basis and the experience that my clients were going through from the moment they walked in the door until the moment they walked out. I was confident what was going on within my chair, but I wasn't. I became a little underwhelmed with what was going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing little things, and this was all fairly subconscious. I was like, I'm going to build a coffee station. So if they need coffee, a lot of my clients come in first thing in the morning and they're like kind of feeling a little tired. Coffee, water. Maybe I'll bring in like a special type of water, you know, or maybe while they're processing, I'll walk down to Starbucks and get them a drink and I'll pay for it. It's $2-3. Like they're paying me great money. Like why
Yeah.
wouldn't I buy them a coffee? So I started just doing these little aesthetics, right? Or changing what my station looked like. I put up vanity lights and I put up new fixtures on the wall, that were clean, nice lines, like everything was dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought in a table to put magazines on. I started doing all these things, and then all of a sudden one day I go, oh, I see I see what's happening here.
The aha moment.
That moment where I realized I think I want to create something for my clients that comes from my heart. And I can't
Like a
do
branch of yourself.
yeah, I can't do that because this place isn't my heart. I can talk to the owner about how we can expand on social media. I can talk to the owner about how maybe we should sell products on our website to gain more business. I had all these ideas, but I realized that those ideas were not being received necessarily at no fault of anybody, but the fact that I think it was more a vision of mine for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they just organically weren't being received.
Yeah.
And so that's when I reached out to Austin, obviously the owner of Sola.
Yeah. I love that. I love your story. And one thing I'm going to go back to is the point that you said that you started to realizing that you were underwhelmed. And that's a huge word. I mean, just such a profound word to realize, okay, I've kind of tapped out here of learning things. I'm no longer inspired. What's next for me in that step in your journey? It's just such an awesome story.
Yeah, I think I want to clarify the word underwhelmed because I was becoming underwhelmed with the experience that I was able to offer my clients. Because it branches out to more than look. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. What am I looking on Instagram? Hair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
hair and inspirational quotes. That's my life on Instagram. I'm constantly filling myself with inspiration of looking at the colors of the trees and the flowers, and I'm always inspired, and I'm always feeling passionate about the creative aspect of doing the hair.
Mm-hmm.
What I began feeling underwhelmed about was the environment that I was doing that in, and realizing more and more that my job, especially when you're doing clients for 8, 10, 15, 18 years, it goes beyond the hair, right? Like I can do your hair. I can do your hair different every time.
Yeah.
We can make your hair better this time than it was last time. I can do that, and I do feel confident in that.
Yeah.
What I began to want more of was allowing them a sacred space where they could come in and they could feel confident that they were going to get their hair done, but also know that they were in a space of calm and that it was safe. I wanted them to feel like they could talk to me about the inner workings of their heart. I wanted them to know that I bought these tissues just in case you wanted to cry. You know, like I got this coffee because it's the best and it tastes the best for you. I wanted to start creating a space and have them be able to come to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, and
just,
you've done that so well. I felt that when I went in there, and I love that you're able to share that today. And I
yay.
know we have a couple comments here. April Roga is saying, so many people think they have to take their business to the next level, but it's truly all about taking yourself to the next level.
Yes,
This
girl.
is what I'm hearing Heather say she did. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, 100%. You saw that
Because
the
really,
growth
because
had to happen for yourself, and that was
absolutely,
that moment, right?
April, that's a huge statement. It's so poignant because look, like we're all coexisting, right? We're all here together. Um, like think about, I read Deepak Chopra talk about the synchronicity of the way birds fly, right? So you've got like, you go to the beach, right? We live in the most beautiful place in the world, and you go to the beach, and oftentimes you'll see birds flying over, right? And they're in this perfect pattern, right? I mean, it's like all of a sudden they're moving left, all of a sudden they're moving right. You don't think like Joe up in the front is saying, "Hey Bob, we're gonna hang a hard right here at the sun." You know, like they don't say that. There's just this ebb and flow of a movement. There's a synchronicity to it. But there's a bird that's leading the other birds, and I had to challenge myself that if I wanted to create something better, special, different, something that stood out from the rest, it had to start with me. It had to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I needed to make this happen for these people that I consider my family, I owed that to them. I owed that to them. But I only was able to do it when the time was right. When I emphatically could say, actually, yes, yeah, I do. I do want to own my own salon. And it's happening. It's in the
Mm-hmm.
works. Just wait. It's going to be great.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do
So
you want
let's talk about what you can have created and what you are creating,
to?
for that space, because I love that what you said before, that's something that your element, that you're able to have that safe place where they're able to grab those tissues. You're able to close the curtains if they need to have that privacy, because many people know your hairstylist are like your bartender, and you have this bond, but you don't necessarily want their neighbor to hear it, so
Sure.
being able to create that. What does that look like for you? What's your vision?
Yeah. So, I guess, my vision for that is over the last year has really, um, I've taken notes over the last year. I mean, maybe we could touch on, I'll touch a little bit about how I got into Sola, and then I'll touch on the experience. How's that sound?
Perfect.
So 2 years ago to the date, I reached out to Austin, and I was ready, but I knew it wasn't quite time to move from the salon that I was at. So I reached out to him, but I knew it would be some time because, as you know, our Sola in Encinitas is like one of the hardest to get into.
There's quite the list.
Oh, it's quite the list, right? And so I reached out to him and I just said, this is who I am. I had just created my website. I had just created, I'd updated my bio, everything in line. And I came to him and said, I have to work at Sola, and kind of told him what my vision was, what I was about. And he responded with, "You sound like exactly what Sola is all about," which touched my heart so much because, I felt that, but to hear that from him was that was a real moment.
There's a
Uh,
confirmation for sure, right?
yeah, absolutely. And that I felt like, I felt there was a connection there of the mind, like, okay, he understands me, I understand him, and this is the type of company I want to be about, I want to
Yeah.
work for, or within rather. So he said, okay, this is all great, but and I really want to get you in here. There's a list, and I said, of course, but just if you wouldn't mind keeping me in mind. And so I think we touched on this earlier when we were chatting. So that was, I want to say somewhere around, June of 2016, June, July, something like that. And so for the next year, maybe a little under that, on the first of every month, I shot him a text, um, trying to get the current, update on how my new studio was going.
Mhm.
And it was always like a, hey, great to hear from you. Nothing's available yet. I'm like, no
When can I
problem.
pick up my paint?
Yeah. It's sitting in my garage waiting. So it started with that, the first of every month, and then major holidays, because I did want Austin to know that not only am I serious about working there,
Mhm.
but this also matters to me. Like what he's created was something that I could stand behind, and when I can stand behind something, right, like you've got my
That changes
whole.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So on every major holiday, I'd reach out like, "Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year."
Remember me?
hope you guys are having a great Easter. Hippity hop, all of that, and then June of 2017 comes, and I had heard it through the grapevine that a studio had opened, and I was like, "Why haven't I heard from him? What's going on?" And
The head starts to work, right?
against you.
Yes.
Maybe this isn't, I don't know, well, simultaneously when I hear that, I also hear that after almost over 20 years of the salon that I was working at, in business, they were closing their doors and having to move.
Okay.
And so wheels start
So
turning.
you're at a crossroads for sure.
A major crossroads, but like a crossroads that I am not driving the car.
And that's why there's so much peace when you speak about this. It's obvious there was peace through this as you're being led.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I knew, just like I knew that I never wanted to open my own salon up until I did, I also knew that I was meant to be at this salon, the Sola. I knew I was meant to be there. I drive by it, girl. I drive by and I look at it. I drive through the parking lot. I'd sometimes come and walk the halls like a weirdo. People are probably like, who is this girl?
Oh, you were the one they're talking about.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Can we get security over there? Seriously,
No,
gone.
but this is awesome that you went from I never want a salon. Why you guys asking me? When this is happening, to I know I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to open up the salon.
Yeah.
And now you're there, and you have opened up the salon, and now you've even grown into a larger studio within a year.
Hey. Well, so that's what I told. So Austin calls me and he said, "Hey, I just want you to know that this salon opened. That we've got a spot for you."
Mm-hmm.
And so I was there within a couple days, and I saw the spot, and it was tiny. And I have to admit, as grateful as of a heart as I want to have sometimes, as we all do, like I'm so thankful for this, whatever it is, this small little. I wanted to be so thankful, and I was, but I knew
Just didn't look like how you pictured.
I know. I'm at like the pound, right? I'm like, I know this person isn't my forever home, you know.
Yes.
and and so to move forward a little quicker, I said, I'm so grateful. Yes, I'll take it. I'm on it. And then we walked down the hallway, and I said, I just want you to know that within a year, I'm going to be in that one.
You
And
claimed it.
I claimed it, and I said, and I pointed to, of course, as you know, but the viewers at home don't. I pointed to the studio that I just recently moved into, a year to the date of signing the lease on my first one. But what's been so great about being there for a year in this humble spot, like the spot that when people walked in, it wasn't what I envisioned. It wasn't this grandiose, waterfall on the wall and spa music playing all around and candles lit everywhere. And it wasn't what I envisioned. But yet, for a year, I've been able to watch my clients be in this space. I've watched where they go reach for a tissue. I watched where they go to put their purse. I watch where they go to write their checks or pull out their day planner, or what they like to drink on a Saturday morning versus a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to take notes on this sort of algorithm, of their existence within my experience. And so now, within the next month, I get to really go ham on creating what I've always wanted to do for them. Because honestly, I owe them everything,
Wow.
um, and they give to me more than they probably even know.
That's so
So,
beautiful, Heather.
so I think
So beautiful. What's
so
the
the
feedback from your clients? Obviously, they've been with you through this journey, and were they a little shocked when you decided to open up your own space?
no, not at all. I think I think that there is an element of a veil that we put up as a hairdresser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they want to know how we are, how's everything going, and it's we're great. How are you? It's just immediately kind of like, oh, everything's. So when people would say like, do you want to open up your own salon? And I would say no. My guests are so tuned in that they knew that that was probably rooted in fear or laziness
Yes.
or whatever. I wouldn't equate myself to being a lazy person, but as far as
But at the time, it wasn't what you wanted to go for.
wasn't what I
So it's
wanted to
just, yeah,
do. But they're funny because they're like, oh, of course you're opening up your own salon. Like,
they knew it
we
before
knew
you
that was
did.
gonna happen all. Yeah, exactly. Which I can respect.
Yeah.
That happens a lot of times when you have a connection with someone.
Yeah.
You
They know
know,
when you're happy and when you're not, when you're just kind of going
sure.
with the flow and they're like, there's
Hey,
something
April,
missing
I love
here,
you
dude.
too.
You're not thriving. You're not blossoming into what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. April
Ah,
said,
you're getting so
April,
much love right now, Heather. You don't even know. April's like, there's so much shout out love to you right now and so many questions. So I definitely want you to continue with your story, but I have a couple questions for
let's do
you.
it.
So, all right. So April Roga says, I have a child on the autism spectrum and I find it difficult to take him for haircuts. I would love to see someone open a salon just for kids with sensory issues where they have a safe space to be themselves. I could totally see you, Heather, doing something like this. So
Oh
she
my
could
gosh.
totally see you on that spectrum of creating a place like this. Have you ever thought of that before?
That's a great question, April. It's interesting that you asked that because it's a very sensitive issue. I actually have a couple clients with autism and Asperger's,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been really, really special to have them into this new space because I found it really challenging to do it in a space that I didn't dictate how the environment was.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I would have to be honest with you and say that I don't feel called to open up something of that nature. However, I think it's necessary and it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because I can remember, my young client, young, little, she's like 18 now. But, she would speak really loud, in specific, or
Mm-hmm.
she would tell me, I used to be a smoker and she'd be like, your
Mm-hmm.
breath really smells. And her mom would just be, oh my gosh, she would just get so embarrassed.
Just a little bit.
I found ways to, and she didn't like her hair washed. And so
Yeah.
I found ways to be able to make the experience what it needed to be for her. Um, and so to what you're saying, like, let's put it out there. I know hands down that people have, there must be someone with a calling for this.
Yeah.
And because I think it's important because what you say is it is all about the experience, and the experience has to be special for these
Mm.
beautiful children, those that are on the spectrum and those who have a hard time. I mean, the hairdresser, we're scary. Kids think that it's going to hurt when we cut their hair because we're putting
Yeah.
scissors on something. They don't realize their hair is dead and they're not going to
Mhm.
feel anything, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea, and hey, you know what, April? With that being said, when you have an idea, start brainstorming on it. It may not be me, it may be you. You don't even know. It may be you. And what I found is that every day, if we put one foot in front of the other and do something that fires up our vision, we get there a lot quicker than we think we can. You know?
Ah, I love it. I can
Yeah.
talk to you all day. They're just so inspiring. And I love one of the things that Heather's also done for us at Sola is in the break room, she's spreading the love there, guys. And I know it just goes without saying, Heather, you are such a light to us there because of this energy, because of your mindset. Like, you know that each of us has this gift, and you're living it. Like, you have this incredible gift that we see like flourishing, and you spread that light in the break room with your calendar that you're inspiring us with every day, of some inspirational thing every day on there. Like, who spends the time doing these things? That's this woman right here that is spreading her light in her chair. And also, I love that it's being able to create so many things for you and others. We have a question also for how to stay connected to you and your journey, Heather. So how can
Sure.
people stay connected to you with
So,
Facebook and also on Instagram?
so I've moved actually a little bit away from Facebook in the last year or so,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much for my business, just do Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram for me was much more inspirational and visually stimulating as opposed to like mentally challenging.
Checking
Uh,
out the haircuts and visions. Yeah, I love it.
yeah, haircuts, visions, but it was all just I love the idea of Instagram with pictures and getting to kind of just see that and then the words.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider myself a visionary. I think that I am stimulated by, sight and mind, but I'd rather see the picture before I hear the words.
I
So
love it. So nice. Most
I'm
people are today, or they want videos, right?
yeah, well, there's something to be said about, hearing and seeing the elements, which is, I mean, if we go back into it, I'll talk a little bit about bringing the elements into my new studio,
Mm-hmm.
and how important that is to me. But yeah, check me out on Instagram. I'm the Heather Hair, TheHeTher Hair, on Instagram. That's my name.
I'm gonna.
How many other ways can I say that's who I am on Instagram? That's my definition. That's where you can find me.
I love it. My producer stepped away for a second to go deal with the kids, so I'm gonna have you. Can you say that one more time for us, Heather, so he can plug it in for those that missed it? So it's
Sure,
the Heather
absolutely.
Hair at Instagram, correct?
Yeah, I'm yeah, the at the Heather Hair.
At the Heather Hair on Instagram, you
Well,
can
it's like an
find
app,
her.
it's like it's how the kids say it. I'm not
You're
I'm
so
a
cool.
hashtag. I know. Oh my god. Like, what is my life right
Hashtag so cool.
now? Yeah, hashtag I am awesome.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
so the elements of the salon though are pretty cool. I'd love to touch on that.
Yes.
Um, just going, to talk a little bit more about, the experience.
Hmm.
Um, oh, there it. Oh, look, your producer is back. Isn't he good?
I know, right? I think we'll keep them.
I'm sure you will. Um, so walking into the doors of my new studio, so I got word. I put it out there. Um, I would walk by this studio every day at Sola. Sola is set up in a bit of a horseshoe or circular kind of fashion, if you will. And
Mhm.
so I would always find myself going like the long way around the hallway, and I would walk by the studio like a weirdo, like, hey, and I'd like touch the door and
I love it.
but I think that, hey, if you want something, if you have a passion or a desire for something, like, you go after it,
Hmm.
you
And
know?
you don't quit like you did it. And
Oh,
it took you about a year to get in there.
yeah.
That is just so
A year,
admirable.
yeah,
Of
a year to get my foot in the door legally.
yeah, legally
um,
before we
yeah,
kicked you out.
yeah. They were when I was prowling the halls before I went.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, so yeah, a couple months ago, I approached the girl that owned the salon that I really wanted, and I just asked her if she would ever be interested in downsizing. And she mentioned that it was possible, but it looked like it would probably not be for at least a year, if not a little longer.
Hmm.
And so I felt like I was kind of going on this feeling of like this is right timing. I'm approaching a year, and
Hmm.
this should be working. And
Hmm.
so when she said that, I was like, okay, I was open to it, a year. So I started working on the plans to renovate my small spot.
Hmm.
And then wouldn't you know, I mean, maybe a couple days before I was going to click buy on a lot of really great things for my new studio, she called me and said something to the effect of, um, I think that you were, meant to be in this space, and that I think that you'll use it.
Whoa.
And if you're still looking into downsizing or up, trading spots, um,
For
I'm
you, would be upsizing,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
upsizing, downsizing. So I was like, yes. and
Wow.
and so it was just really honestly like an over the phone handshake. Like, if this is what we're doing, then let me know. And
Hmm.
so that happened. And as of, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I officially moved into my new space. And in another week or so, I'll be completely gutting it and doing a complete remodel, like I wanted, like I've always wanted. So my vision's going to get to come to life. I've met with a contractor. I've met with flooring. I've met with, I've met with myself,
Hmm.
which is important.
Most importantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met with myself and really searched my heart of this this sacred space that I want to walk into every day.
Hmm. Wow.
Um, because it has to be my sanctuary in order for it to be theirs.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so elements. I wanted to make sure that there was some sensory things there. I wanted lighting is so important. So obviously, in my new studio, I have a huge window, and the lighting is so beautiful. So I'm able to really see what they'll look like in natural light.
That's awesome.
Add, at Sola you can't do candles. So I invested in these really cool fake candles that like
Uh-huh.
move and flicker and do all this kind of stuff. So when they're processing, it's not these. I forget. My friend told me something like they were really surprised that the lighting that was in there, it was a little like intense.
Okay, I got to see these candles you speak of, and you might have to drop
Oh
the link below.
yes, they're called Luminera. They're available at Bed Bath and
Ooh.
Beyond. Don't forget your 20% off coupon. Hey, but yeah,
If you don't have one, the cashier might have one for you.
retailmenot.com. Um,
Are we getting paid for that? I hope we are.
already did.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
so no, in all actuality though, it was like, I really wanted to make sure that, when they're sitting there, it wasn't like they were sitting in some sterile hospital type of environment. Because
Yeah.
as beautiful as the artwork in a salon can be, and as great as, your magazines and your champagne and your own self, like there's still something about the aesthetic of your environment. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure that when they were processing, when they were sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour and a half with foils and color on their head, looking not their best, that I could turn them away from the mirror and they could see the flicker of a candle. They can
Mm.
hear the water of the waterfall that my dad and I are going to build together.
Wow.
Um, they can choose their own music, just by saying the word. They can have anything to drink, from a glass of rosé to a glass of champagne to filtered water or a Diet Coke or an espresso, a hammerhead.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is that makes them feel at home. And I've listed this stuff over the last year of what makes them feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Like
honestly,
they're at your home, and basically they've come over to get their hair done and your house, kind of
I
a feel, but it's
more
professional.
to add to that point, I more want them to feel like they're at their home.
Hmm.
Like, I want them to know that every move they've made, every want they've ever had, when they're in my presence, I remember. And
That's beautiful.
so I want them to know that the tissues are there if they feel like they need to have a cathartic time with me and cry. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to know that I remember the fact that because they have a Saturday appointment, they really look forward to getting there early just so they can have a latte. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that they are lactose intolerant, so they like coconut milk. Like, I want them to know that they don't need to think about anything when they're there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's
You can't
important.
help but appreciate that. I know that I appreciate it, when someone has remembered my special drink, or make me feel like this is my special sanctuary. Like you
Yeah.
said, coming in there and saying, "Hey, I can turn off for a little bit." Whether you're that mom that's going from here to there, you can turn off, unplug. This is your
and breathe,
world.
and just
Breathe.
and breathe,
Yeah.
and talk about how about this? Talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know,
Yeah.
use the F word 17 times because you're so fed up with whatever's going on in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, laugh so loud at the silliest thing that you think no one's going to find funny. I want you to laugh that hard because you can, because you're safe
Yeah.
here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or let's be in this space together and burn some sage and talk about how we're going to change the world, you
Yeah.
know? Or
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about how depleted you are and how to fill you back up. Like, the possibilities are endless. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a conducive environment, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, how many times, let's be real. How many times have you been like out with a girlfriend, like, I don't, at dinner, I don't know if you go to clubs. Do people go to clubs? I don't know.
Well, you're talking to me going to clubs or our viewers here because
Whoever.
when are clubs?
I know, right? Club Netflix.
I belong to clubs.
Yeah. But you know, it's
Yeah.
how many times have you been out in a, like, hey, let's meet for a glass of wine, or let's go out, I've missed you, let's catch up. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden you find yourself like yelling your deepest of soul's issues,
Oh,
you know,
totally.
and you're like, wow, I still don't feel heard.
Yes.
You know, so I don't know. I mean, so
Yeah.
to go from, to your point of behind the chair to owning the chair, it was more taking ownership of what I wanted the experience to be like.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that now.
Hmm.
And I pride myself on it, you know, maybe even to a fault. I'm like, oh, I'm at Home Goods and I'm like, oh, there's honey on a wooden spoon. You know, this person really likes honey. And how neat would it be, because they don't like to waste plastic? You know, like, my mind
Yeah.
started going, like, great, wooden spoon with honey on it in the cart,
Yeah. I
you
know,
know?
right? Done.
Yeah. So if you
So
want
it's
to,
those things that you're doing. So I know we get that a lot with people, the question of premier hairstylist versus going to just a regular place, which is all, it's not for everyone, Sola, and owning your own salon. So what you're getting is the experience, going to even your name of choosing the Heather experience. Where did that come from?
hey,
Mm.
it was spawned over cocktails with a girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
With her really, um, really challenging me as far as, you know, these words like, what is your brand? You know,
Yeah.
what's your mission statement? What are
Hmm.
you about?
Discovering
And
yourself. Hmm.
yeah, which are things that, as a hairdresser behind the chair, I hadn't thought of, you know, because I never had to worry about my brand,
Hmm.
you know, because I belonged to someone else's. So,
Huh.
um, so sitting there, at dinner with her one night, she started asking me like, well, let's talk about your brand. What do you want it to be like when people come to see you?
Hmm.
And that was a really, I'm not going to say challenging question, but well, it did challenge me to think about it.
Hmm.
Um, but I had to take a step back into who I was, like, to April's point, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's got to start with you.
Yes.
And I started out, um, in as a young girl in a family who, with a mom and dad who loved me, endlessly. And I grew up knowing that I was loved and safe and wanted and cherished,
Mm.
um, all throughout my childhood. Where I didn't feel that way was at school.
Hmm.
I was extremely bullied. I had braces, I had acne, I had freckles, I had heart surgery when I was 12, and rumors went around that I was dying of some infectious disease, and I was,
What?
oh, it was awful, right?
Oh my gosh.
So talk about humbling. But I always knew that I could go home if I could just get home, right? You see,
Mm.
if I could just get home, I would be okay.
Yeah.
Um, because I knew that I was beautiful at home. I knew that I was loved and appreciated at home. I knew that when my parents and I, they would listen to me play piano or sing karaoke. That there was nothing that I did that wasn't just going to be appreciated,
It's pure joy, a place where you felt the joy and
pure joy
loving. Oh,
and acceptance and all of that.
love.
So there was my beginning, and the bullying went on.
Hmm.
The torment kind of went on, to where, I mean, you know what, girl, all my friends super pretty, all of them were like gorgeous, not only pretty but like thin gymnast, like really pretty special eyes, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
thin
You're like,
and there I was, like I had frizzy hair, I had acne, I had
yeah.
freckles,
Yeah.
braces, a huge slash on my back from heart surgery, and so I started out with that, right? So this weird kind of interesting balance of like torment and acceptance.
Yeah.
And so then I became a hairstylist. And all of a sudden, I started getting noticed, right? People would stop me in the middle of the road, like, oh my God, I love your hair. Or,
Hmm.
oh my God, you're so beautiful. Wow. Oh my God, you are hilarious. Like all of a sudden, I started getting these compliments, right? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I was not used to that from
Yeah.
strangers or people that
Yeah.
were outside of my family. And so, with that
How
being
did
said,
that feel for you? Because you're totally
humbling.
speaking to my heart because very similar. Whole nother show.
Yeah. I'm available next week. Let's
Um,
talk again.
Perfect. Because I'm in. I'm like, give me the popcorn.
Same time, same place.
I love this. So,
So
because
that's
it's so
how
true.
kind
Because
of,
full circle, look at you now. Like, eh, you're complete opposite from you're giving people that love and like,
yeah. Well, and that ties into the name,
yeah.
So as I started receiving those things, I mean, I would actually get a bit awkward,
Mm.
like, oh my God, thanks.
Didn't know how to receive it.
Oh, I guess I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm invisible. um,
Yeah.
but it was a good thing, which is
Yeah.
is how I started out with Robert and how I started out with Dale, which was they never said that you were great. They
Mm.
never said, great job, that was an awesome haircut. You know what they
Mm.
did? They nodded. You know why? Because
Oh,
my confidence could not come from someone else. It couldn't. Because if it came from someone else, I would depend on it. And if I depended
yes.
on it, I would never ever get to that place of actually knowing it. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. I'm just like, yeah, right on. Because
So
I get it. It has to come from you.
yeah, so yet I had this acceptance of this buildup, like, Heather, you're great, you're lovely, you're amazing, you're talented. I mean, I literally reached out to the CEO of Jack Murphy Stadium when I was 7 years old, and asked him. I got up the line in the yellow pages and found the phone number to the head guy, and I said, hi, my name is Heather Cleaves. I would like to sing the national anthem at a baseball game. And he said, that's great, but it's actually reserved for like celebrities and like music artists. And I said, but I'm Heather Cleaves, and I think I would do a really great job at it. That's the mentality. I was untouchable,
I love
like
it.
there was no limits. And I say that story because I had this deep seated belief that I could do anything, I could achieve anything. But yet the world came in and was like, no, you can't.
Hmm.
You're not pretty. You're not talented. You have a weird scar on your back. You're this, you're that. You're not normal. You're weird. And so that evoked a strong level of humility in me. And I feel like humility is equated to something that's bad. But I'm in a place now that I can be quite thankful for that experience. Because now, if someone tells me, I'm pretty or I'm talented or whatever, I come from a deep place of gratitude because I know what it feels like to not feel that way.
Yeah.
And so, to come full circle, the Heather experience was I have a lot of clients that have been, look at what they do to me. They make me get all teary. I have a lot of clients that have been dealt a shitty hand.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients that have been not cherished and valued. I have a lot of clients that are very successful financially, but are still trying to learn how to find success within themselves.
Mm.
And I feel them. And so to give them my experience is to say, let me help you, let me encourage you, let me go deep with you here for a second, because I've been where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you and I in this journey together can get you to success. And success really is this ultimate experience, isn't it? Like
Mm-hmm.
these relationships that we have, like inspiring someone for greatness while simultaneously having them inspire you for the same thing or even something different. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So to give them my experience, and I actually think that it could sound quite cheesy and self-centered, like, oh, the Heather experience. But like when you understand my heart, I hope it makes a little more sense. Um,
Oh,
to know that
I
that's,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I want them to
because
know
it's
that
so much deeper.
my client that came in this last week, she's like the epitome of what it feels like. She's colored her hair for years, and she has always exuded this confidence. Like I love her so much. She's a therapist, actually. She's incredible. Been
Mm-hmm.
doing her forever, and she now has chopped her hair off, shaves the sides. Well, I have. Let's be real. I shave the sides. I chopped her hair off, and we add sometimes, some fun, funky little like pink to her gray hair.
Oh
And
my
I share
gosh.
the story because every time she comes and sees me, about every 6 weeks, every time she comes in, she tells me a new story, right? About how she's gotten a new compliment about her
Mm-hmm.
looks, or like, or you're so sassy, you're so this, you're so that. And she didn't get that when she was like coloring her hair this other color, or when
Yeah.
she wasn't really living in this true sense of self, right?
Uh-huh.
She didn't
Of
get
wishing they
compliments.
could do things all the time. Because,
Yeah,
I mean, that was my lifestyle, always trying to fit into these molds of fit in before
yeah,
growing up. And then later on, you're like, wait a minute, I want to be different. I want to be my
yeah,
own person.
yeah.
And she's
Or
taking ownership of that
or
now.
to
That's
add, yeah,
amazing.
or to add to your point, not only do I want to be different, but I am different. And that should be
Yes.
celebrated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So now she comes in, and every month she comes in, I think to myself, like, that's it. That's the
Mm-hmm.
experience. To know what it feels like to be at point A, to go through point B to point C, and then end up at this new point that you didn't even know existed, but yet all of a sudden you're feeling like your best self now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, like, that's incredible. She really defines the idea of the Heather experience to
I
me.
love it.
And I know many of my clients go through the same thing. That one sticks out to me today, because
I love
that's
it.
what it's about.
Now you yourself have gone through a huge transformation with your health journey, and that's another thing that I'm just so impressed with, Heather. I love that I have my buddy there to like link arms with on that side of it too. Is
Yeah,
that something that you feel that you've been able to help even your clients with? Obviously they've noticed that.
sure. Um, thank you for asking, and yeah, I'd love to share, and to add to the point of living your best self now. I have to laugh because I started the Arbonne 30-day detox. I did it 60 days ago. I'm starting my next one tomorrow. To the date
Third one.
to the date, I've lost just under 30 pounds. And I was laughing because I was chatting with one of my best girlfriends, and I was on one of my tangents, as I do. I'm like, yeah, this world could be a better place if we just take a moment to think about the connections that we have with people. I'm just going on, and then I said, and look at me, and I pulled down my shirt, like right here. I said, I have a collarbone. And she's
Check
like,
this out.
she's like, what does that have to do with anything? And I've always loved, playing around with makeup and, whatever. And all these YouTube makeup girls um, talk about like highlighting your collarbone. Wait, I can't see you. Is that okay? Uh-oh. Is there technical difficulties? I don't know what to do. I could just sit here and keep talking, but I don't. I feel lonely now. I'll do the thinking man thing. Oh, there you are.
I was just texting you. I'm like, I could see you and hear you.
I know. I did the thinking man thing. I was like, so
I know.
anyways, I'll
Okay.
continue. So these YouTube girls, they always are like, because they're all, bless their hearts, they're so young, and they're like, 98.7 pounds, at like the same as their temperature, and so they always are talking about like the highlight, right? Like we all want to look hydrated. Which drink 100 ounces of water today, and I'll tell you, look hydrated. So anyway, all of a sudden, like after I lost like all these lbs, I was like looking at myself in the mirror one day, and I'm like, oh my, I have collarbones. Like when they would say highlight your collarbones, I'm like, where are those? Probably underneath somewhere.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was, so I had to laugh, and we laughed for like minutes, because I was like, I'm living my best life now with collarbones. Like,
Right? The best
um,
is ahead of us, man. I say that all the time.
yeah,
The best is yet to come. And to
yeah,
just see that, like, you're in
absolutely.
this amazing place right now, and you got collarbones, girl. High five. That's
Hey,
awesome.
and so to add to the collarbones, like the weight loss number was great,
Yeah. Yeah.
impressive. Everyone's like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the collarbones are fun, like,
Yeah.
sure. Why did I cover them up today? Whatever. Um,
Now I want to show mine
but
too. Don't worry.
more important is what one of the things that I really learned throughout this like kind of health journey was the fact that my gut is connected to my mind, and my mind is connected to my gut. And so what I'm putting in to my body is dictating how I'm living my everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this journey of getting to, have a bigger salon, I feel more envisioned than ever, because I'm so much more clear.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a direct reflection of doing the 30-day cleanse, and going organic, cutting out all of the toxic stuff that I was putting in my body, cutting out, oh my God, coffee, gluten, dairy, like everything that was just like, I hate you. You're not going to be efficient. You're going to be stagnant and lethargic,
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, all of a sudden, I mean, it started being noticed. Friends of mine were just like, what are you on, and how do I get that?
Yeah.
Because I felt empowered, which directly it comes from having a clear mind.
Oh, I love that. 100% from that clear mind. And then
Yeah.
you're just seeing that. And oh, that's amazing. So how are you? Obviously, you're inspiring so many people around you that your clients are asking you about that. And you're able to add to their experience too of,
Sure.
sorry, there's a little drag. Hello. Hello. Okay. So this is amazing. Like I said, we're way over. We can talk forever.
I could.
I know we could. So if you guys are just tuning in, you're watching The Business of Beauty. You can subscribe to our show by commenting below. We are on right now with Heather Cleaves from Sola Salons in Encinitas, my dear friend, who is just rocking her business and giving people the Heather experience there in her chair. And we have a question below, and I think that one actually came from my husband. He's like, do you find your guys in competition with each other because you're coming from the same place? And
Such a great question.
right, that's a good question.
I'd love to answer that for you.
Please do.
I felt that more than ever within a hair salon. Not at Sola Salon. And I'll tell you why. a lot of people ask me, when you go to Sola, aren't you going to feel isolated? Like you're in like a box and you're not like, you don't have that creative, outlet of being next to each other and all that energy and all that
Yes.
stuff. Where I found, the problem is that it's a stereotypical salon. It's common. You get a bunch of women together or men and within the beauty business, and there's a level of competition. There's a level of cattiness. There's a level of
Drama.
drama. And it happens,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. I'd like to think we're all grown ups, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not. And myself included, you kind of buy into that, that narrative of this is just,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it is. So, to answer Jason's question, I don't feel competition at all. In fact, I feel more of a camaraderie. I feel more of, I feel more envisioned. Also, too, you don't get to a level like Sola and not be somewhat talented and gifted and with a hunger for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think the important thing is seeking that out. So instead of being
Yeah.
in competition, be in coexistence. You
Yeah.
know, make
Totally inspiring each other, motivating each other 100%. I couldn't have said it better. So
yeah.
true.
I love going around every morning and like saying hi to everybody, and because you can be isolated there. Look, you could
Oh,
show up
yeah.
and, be in your own cubby and do your work and leave. But I think the fun part is taking the opportunity to know that I have this uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I
It's
get
like
to
a
go to a
family.
place every single day where there's like, how many girls are there? Like 20 something, with 20, let's say 25 women that have gone, whether it's they've gone before me and they've been doing hair for 30 years, or they've come after me and they've been doing hair for 10.
Mm-hmm.
I get an opportunity to invest my time with people that have come before and after me in this business, and I won't waste that, whether it's within my business or whether it's in life,
Mm-hmm.
experience. um, I look forward to going there every day because it's an opportunity. Look, we have a choice to surround ourselves and gain from people that are better than us, that are more talented than us, that sing better, do hair better, play guitar better,
Yeah.
dance better. I want to be around those people.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. I can agree with you more. I'm sure you've heard this before, like the whole hand thing. Like you surround yourself around the five most successful people that you are totally inspired by,
Sure.
and obviously, like, or I think it's four, and then you're the thumb because you're like the smallest one that like
I'm
you
into it.
should be
Yeah.
wanting to grow, from these four people as much as you can, linking arms together and seeing that place that definitely there's a stylist and there's a reason why they go to you and why they come to me. It's
Yeah.
like you're going to attract those type of people that you're supposed to be with. The world's
Ab-
supposed to have you aligned with for that
Absolutely.
moment. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's going to be people that don't work with me that could work with you. And I
Yeah.
think you have to be able to get yourself to a point of self-confidence to know that it's not personal.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Yeah.
everybody wants to friggin' cry and drink espresso and listen to me play piano while they're processing with candles. That may not be their thing. And they maybe
yeah.
they want to be like, I want to come and get my hair done. Don't talk to me,
Yeah.
whatever. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Learning to not take things personal has been a huge lesson for me. you
Yeah.
know and look, at the end of the day, I'm remembering this story. When I was in high school, in PE class, Mr. Fields. I wish I could find that guy. He was such a gem, older gentleman. But anyway, my PE teacher, Mr. Fields, he would always notice that during when we'd run around the track, that I would always walk with the walkers. So the
Mm-hmm.
people are like, I'm gonna do a 5 minute mile, and I'm like, 5 minute mile? Like, I'm gonna take this time to like chat with my friends and
We would
walk.
have got along so well back then too,
Yeah.
girl. In the back.
And so I would have loved that. And so one day after after class, He's like, Cleaves, come over here. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And he was like, I'm going to tell you something. I hope this sticks with you. And I'm like, probably won't. I'm so sassy. Anyway, so he goes, in life, you're going to have several different opportunities. You're going to have an opportunity, though, to walk with the walkers or run with the runners, or to try to keep up with those who are running faster than you. I encourage you to always at least try to keep up with the runners, so at least you have the chance to become one.
Whoa.
Are you joking me? It was like,
mic drop.
Hello, this is my PE teacher. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing teaching PE? Like, why are you not like Billy Grahaming or friggin' Tony Robbinsing it all over the world? Like,
Yeah.
life changing. So
he was in his place. Obviously, you remembered that.
So obviously at that age, I was like, I had a comeback, right?
Yeah.
So here's my comeback. I go, well, that's all fine and great, but the real issue at hand is the fact that you have us running around a track. Like in life, when you're running around in circles, like, right, because that's what he expected me to say, right? He's like, I'm going to tell this girl something. I said, in life.
You came back at him.
Of course. So I said, so in life, like if you find yourself running around in circles, like it's Groundhog Day, how does that inspire you to run any faster? Right? In fact, you're going to slow down. That's the inevitable demise. That's going to happen is that you're going to slow down. I said, so I'm going to take your word. I'm going to keep it in my heart. And I'm going to remember it. And I hope that you keep mine, which is if you want your girls and your boys to run faster, have them run towards something. True story. Yeah. A year later, right? I was 15, working my very first job at the hair salon as a receptionist that I later, obviously, I left there at 16 to go to beauty school and high school at the same time. I'm on a break, going down to get a bagel, because that's what you eat when you're 15 for lunch.
And Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly. I'm down there getting a bagel, and who do I see running towards this shopping complex? The La Costa Canyon physical education class. And they're running like hard, right? And they run to Einstein Bagel and the juice stop. So I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my God, like I recognize their PE clothes, because you remember it's only a year after I left.
Wow.
You know?
He gave him the carrot. He basically was like, run for it.
So I say to one of these girls, I'm like, out of curiosity, whose class are you in? And she's like, Mr. Fields.
I knew it.
Son of a bitch. So
that is amazing.
He did it. He did it. He took a word from a 15-year-old, someone that was this guy must have been in his 60s at the time. In my mind, he was probably like 40.
Yeah. But what do you think that was? His mind was open to it. He knew, like, okay, this is wisdom.
He knew I had a point, and I knew that he had a point. Yeah. And the point is this. I love the idea of healthy competition. I think it's great. Yeah. And it has a place in our society. But competition doesn't implore me for greatness. Doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. What does is when I'm trying to run as fast as the people that are running faster than me, that encourages me. Yeah. So see that PE class running towards something, right? They weren't in competition with each other. They were like wanting to get to this place of success, right? Like I'm hungry and I get to go off campus and get food. You better believe I'm going to run faster than I've ever run before. Oh yeah, they wanted to be first in line, so they didn't have to wait their line. There was some incentive there. That's my life. Yeah, I want to, because I've never been a runner. I'm working on it. Especially with the Arbonne, the 30-day cleanse, and with my health journey of exercising and really trying to incorporate that into my life 7 days a week. I want to be a runner. I'm not there yet, but I want to be.
Yeah.
But I'm
That's
going to do
amazing.
everything that I can on a daily basis to get there. And how you get there is surrounding yourself with people that are better than you,
Mm-hmm.
are greater than you, and that are more successful. And that's what Sola did for me. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not the best there, you know, because once you think you're the best, you're never going to become better.
oh yeah. You shut off that mind of growing and
Yeah,
learning more. I mean, that's just the stupidest thing you can do. Let's be
absolutely.
for
Yeah,
real.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Talk
Yeah.
about not giving yourself a chance for success.
I know. I just love sitting with you and learning from your mind, because that's the thing. Like, we can learn so much from each other. It's when we think we've made it that we're like, we need to start all over again.
Yeah. Or you know, continue on. Like, it's like when you've you know, you catch up with an old friend, right? And you feel like, oh my gosh, it's like, you know, I haven't seen you for so long, you know, like no time. It's like no time has passed.
Yeah.
But time has passed. Time
Mm-hmm.
has passed. You've grown, you've matured, you've done all this, you've become better, you've become more enlightened, you've learned and you've grown and you have wisdom. So it's like you're catching up with someone that has actually been with you throughout that whole journey, you
Hmm.
know. And for me, that's where I'm at professionally, you know. Personally, it's with myself. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got to continue running this race, you know. I've got to tend to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that hashtag, future runner. um, I've got to continue on and become better and better every day.
Yes.
And that's, you know, and that's what I'm doing. And really, honestly, that's what, you know, getting to go to my own salon
Mm-hmm.
has done for me.
I love it. What an incredible journey you have started. And I want to say, like, started from this birth, because I mean, it as you're sharing with us, a lot of this comes from childhood, you know, and then like seeing the puzzle pieces kind of coming together. It's just so beautiful to see that, you know, to see that you've just started this journey. So we definitely want to stay, you know, in contact with you and watch your studio unfold. And I know it's going to be super beautiful. I mean, obviously it's going to be a reflection of you and all from you and your love that you're pouring on each other and all your clients and all of us there at Sola. So thank you so much for your time today, Heather. I think we went over, and I know we have some Heather, April said, yeah, she can't wait for part 2. So there you go, girl.
All right, we'll make a date. We'll put it on the We'll put it on the calendar at Sola.
What a shocker. You and I have so much to talk about all the time. So we will have to put that on there.
I can't wait. I'll look forward to it. And hey, thank you so much for the light and inspiration that you bring to Sola too. You know, it helps when you're singing down the halls to walk by a window that always has a smile. So you're
thank you.
well.
Thank you. You're such an inspiration to me and so many others, Heather.
All right,
Have
babe.
a good night. Thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy your rosé.
Oh, cheers, babe. Bye.
Bye. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great day. And I don't know about you, but I think that was an amazing first launch for the business of beauty.